Janice Combs is far more than simply the mother of Diddy. Rumors suggest she served as the concealed mastermind steering the creation and operations of Bad Boy Entertainment. Recently, 50 Cent unveiled video material that Netflix chose not to include. This entire operation could rest upon hidden truths far more sinister than the public ever suspected. Get ready for this ride. Most people believed they fully understood the saga surrounding Diddy, the tycoon, the lavish gatherings, the vast business empire. That narrative was the one widely embraced. However, 50 Cent is now gearing up to unveil the second season of his documentary series. This installment redirects attention squarely onto Janice Combs, the figure purportedly directing operations from behind the curtain. Sources indicate this content was something Netflix declined to handle. Yet 50 Cent remains undeterred. He's choosing to release it directly onto YouTube. Those with inside knowledge claim it will completely alter public perception of Bad Boy Entertainment. The entire storyline is undergoing a dramatic shift. Allow me to unpack this carefully, as the revelations here become truly shocking. In the recently released Netflix documentary, a childhood acquaintance named Tim Patterson shared something deeply troubling. He recounted how Diddy's father lost his life when Diddy was merely a young toddler. Following that loss, Janice Combs assumed complete authority over the home. But the story turns much darker here. She supposedly converted their residence into a hub where formidable individuals, drug traffickers, street operators, and influential personalities regularly passed through Harlem. These gatherings were anything but ordinary social events. They involved late evening parties during which the young Diddy became immersed in the grown-up realm of prestige, dominance, and authority. Tim Patterson mentioned a miniature platform erected directly in their living area. Diddy, along with other children, received encouragement to showcase talents, move to music, and captivate the crowd. Grown-ups would shout things like, "Do that dance, baby." In those instances, Diddy wasn't merely showing off skills. He was absorbing lessons about how recognition, approval, and influence truly function. It's disturbing to consider a youngster being conditioned in such a manner. Yet the situation grows even more outrageous. Patterson asserted that stumbling into certain rooms during these events and discovering adults engaged in sexual activity was far from rare. That atmosphere was commonplace in their world. That environment surrounded Diddy throughout his early years. Residents in the area were well aware of the exact types of forces circulating through that household. Lately, TMZ, along with various other media sources, have begun linking these elements together. Supporters across social platforms have transformed into dedicated researchers, scrutinizing every piece of information as though conducting a full criminal investigation. They've pored over vintage conversations, examined Diddy's recurring actions, evaluated his personal connections, and many online insist that Janice Combs went beyond being an encouraging parent. She supposedly orchestrated the entire framework. A person identified as Mr. Brown, who claims to have participated in those occasions, stated he had direct familiarity with Janice Combs. He described how she operated what many perceived as a legitimate modeling business, but according to his account, it held no connection to legitimate modeling whatsoever. Instead, it functioned allegedly as an establishment providing services to prominent drug figures and sports personalities. Pause and absorb that claim. Furthermore, he alleged that Janice made advances toward him on several occasions during that period. He mentioned her particular interest in younger men. Online investigators escalated this discovery dramatically. They spotted something unsettling. In her legal filing, Cassie Ventura outlined how Diddy maintained very precise tastes: white nail polish, particular clothing choices, specific mannerisms. Remarkably, Janice Combs displayed the identical white nail polish. Online communities are highlighting that Diddy could have patterned his romantic partnerships after the image of his mother. That introduces an intense psychological dimension that feels profoundly different. Additionally, discussions swirl around certain recorded moments. Following one of Diddy's notorious events, purported footage exists showing both Diddy and Janice positioned on a sofa, each receiving intravenous treatments simultaneously after the identical gathering. That prompts profound concerns. Why would a parent and child require medical hydration following the same occasion? What sort of celebration demands such recovery measures? Social media users are tying this directly to the notorious freak-offs that Diddy faces accusations of arranging. The revelations continue further. Recordings surface of Diddy speaking about his mother in manners that left audiences uneasy. He remarked that she possessed the ability to bend forward and place both palms completely flat on the ground while remaining upright. Who speaks of their aging mother in such terms? That's far from typical. Observers also noted multiple public instances where he kissed his mother directly on the lips. Such conduct ignited widespread uneasy discussions across platforms. Gene Deal, an individual connected to the inner circle, expressed that he consistently sensed irregularities in the dynamic shared between Diddy and Janice. He characterized it as domineering, overly invasive, and highly irregular. Once Diddy's father passed away, Janice supposedly elevated Diddy into the position of household leader. However, she didn't merely assign him duties. She allegedly maintained strict oversight over every facet of his existence, directing his conduct, influencing his choices, and crafting the identity that would eventually define the bad boy brand. Let's remain honest. All of these elements constitute unproven claims until established through legal proceedings. Nevertheless, the recurring themes prove impossible to dismiss. When these fragments begin accumulating, the emerging portrait feels profoundly disturbing. Now, examine the underlying motivation, because this is the point where connections solidify. Janice Combs wasn't merely a parent striving to endure following her spouse's death. According to those familiar with the family, ambition and closeness to influential circles propelled her forward. She strategically associated with notable Harlem personalities to establish her position within that sphere. Once Diddy's father was killed, she redirected that drive entirely onto her son. She purportedly viewed him as the vehicle for her personal rise. Consider the implications. From his earliest years, Diddy underwent grooming. He matured observing his mother skillfully maneuvering through hierarchies of influence, commanding spaces filled with powerful figures, and earning deference in a male-dominated landscape. That hardly qualifies as an ordinary upbringing. That represents deliberate preparation. The narrative intensifies further. Moving ahead to December 1991. Diddy arranged a benefit basketball matchup at City College of New York. Major celebrities attended, LL Cool J, Mike Tyson, Heavy D among them. The occasion aimed to mark a pivotal achievement in Diddy's professional journey, yet it descended into horror. Prior to tip-off, excessive crowding at the entryway triggered a fatal crush. 9 individuals perished. Numerous others suffered injuries. The configuration of doors at the staircase base swung incorrectly, trapping victims amid the surging masses. Utter disorder ensued, prompting swift legal actions from grieving families. Here's where Gene Deal delivers a staggering revelation. He reported being present that evening handling protection duties. He arrived prepared with 18 personnel equipped with canines and barriers for external management. However, merely 1 day prior, Diddy supposedly instructed him that Heavy D opposed external security measures. Consequently, his group shifted focus to safeguarding celebrities indoors. Lacking that perimeter defense, the masses overwhelmed the entrance. Gene Deal assigns direct responsibility to Diddy, asserting the catastrophe could have been avoided. This detail loops back to Janice. Post-incident, Diddy confronted substantial legal jeopardy. His identity appeared prominently throughout the litigation. Speculation featured in the documentary suggests a strategic choice emerged at that juncture. Should Diddy's name attach to every asset, future legal claims could seize everything. Therefore, key holdings purportedly transferred into Janice Combs' possession, not driven by affection, but by calculated protection. Former Bad Boy talent Mark Curry stated publicly that contracts with Bad Boy effectively bound individuals to Janice Combs rather than Diddy himself. She controlled primary ownership stakes. She served as the primary financial authority. Diddy presented the public persona, but Janice functioned as the true designer. Reflect on that reality. The complete Bad Boy enterprise, every agreement, every element of dominance, allegedly channeled through his mother. The purpose? To safeguard possessions, establish separation from liability, and guarantee that future complications allowed Diddy to declare, "It belongs to my mother, not me." Arrangements like this rarely occur spontaneously. They reflect intentional planning. This indicates Janice Combs didn't merely participate. She allegedly directed proceedings from the unseen position. Consider the mental and emotional consequences. Diddy developed within a setting where authority, intimacy, and dominance appeared standard. His mother purportedly leveraged attractiveness and connections to influence prominent males. Those extended nighttime assemblies transcended mere celebrations. They offered instruction in negotiation and leverage. Rather than rejecting that reality as he matured, Diddy mirrored it. The widely discussed freak-offs Diddy stands accused of organizing closely resemble the surroundings of his youth. The authority exerted over bad boy performers echoes the supposed dominance Janice maintained over him. Even the methods Diddy allegedly employed to shape partners like Cassie, dictating appearances, enforcing behaviors, parallel the patterns he encountered with his mother. Online observers have observed that Diddy purportedly attempted to recreate versions of Janice in the women around him. The blonde shades, the manicure choices, the overall aesthetic. The similarity feels haunting and implies his fundamental approach toward partnerships, authority, and dominance stemmed directly from the woman who raised him. The most striking element remains this. Despite the barrage of accusations and the dramatic assertions within 50 Cent's documentary project, neither Diddy nor Janice has initiated legal proceedings. They released a denial statement. However, no defamation action, no court challenge. For many observers, that absence of response speaks volumes. If the accusations lacked any basis, wouldn't vigorous defense follow? Wouldn't litigation ensue? Their continued restraint hints that perhaps greater validity exists within these accounts than acknowledged. The most impactful aspect extends beyond Diddy and Janice alone. This concerns those harmed along the way. The individuals affected, the performers who entered bad boy agreements believing fairness awaited only to discover their prospects surrendered. The females allegedly subjected to manipulation, restriction, and mistreatment. The relatives of the 9 victims lost at City College who never received genuine resolution. Reflect briefly on Cassie. She entered the relationship young, possessing bright professional promise. According to her legal claims, Diddy purportedly regulated every dimension of her existence. Her wardrobe selections, her social interactions, her physical presentation. He allegedly compelled participation in unwanted scenarios. Her eventual departure required years before she voiced her experience. We're now discovering that the template for such dominance may trace back to Janice Combs. That realization elevates the disturbance to another plane, indicating the pattern of manipulation and authority stretches across generations. It reveals Diddy absorbed this conduct rather than originating it. He received it as inheritance. What of the performers? Mark Curry, Maze, The Lox. Each has publicly addressed alleged mistreatment by Bad Boy. They described signing agreements without full comprehension. They generated immense revenue for the imprint yet departed nearly empty-handed. Should Janice Combs have held those agreements, her involvement transcends mere participation. She allegedly stood central to the exploitation. Then examine Diddy's own offspring. Sons Justin and Christian appeared in court sporting Free Diddy apparel. They're readying a separate documentary to support their father. Yet what atmosphere surrounded their development? Did they encounter similar forces as Diddy did during childhood? Online discussions pose these inquiries because the repetition appears evident. One account claims Diddy's sons attended portions of these gatherings, aware of the activities unfolding. Should that prove accurate, the destructive pattern persists into another generation shaped by identical harmful surroundings. That reality renders this narrative exceptionally weighty. It transcends one individual. It concerns an alleged structure, a familial pattern that supposedly normalized abuse, dominance, and exploitation. Decades afterward, the repercussions finally surface publicly. Online audiences swiftly interpreted this as strategic image management, an intentional effort to shape perception ahead of 50 Cent's second season release, prompting 50 to share their preview on his Instagram with a comment, "Wow, I want to see this show. I'm not sure this was a good idea." Far from deterred, he appears entertained. Yet the truly fascinating element involves the Zeus platform, owned by Lemuel, a longtime associate of Diddy. Thus, this production lacks true independence. It operates on a channel where Diddy holds sway. That circumstance questions authenticity. Will it deliver an objective portrayal, or merely serve as crisis response? Regardless, the struggle for control of the story intensifies. On one front stands 50 Cent, equipped with shocking recordings and accounts. On the opposing side, Diddy's relatives seek to restore his reputation prior to proceedings. Caught between lies, the viewing public attempting to discern truth. Clearly, Janice Combs has shifted from peripheral status to central focus. Regardless of belief in the claims, the inquiries raised defy dismissal. Taking a broader perspective, this account links to numerous additional scandals. Initially, the City College disaster. 9 fatalities occurred, yet criminal responsibility never attached to anyone. Diddy resolved the civil matters, but criminal accusations never materialized. According to Gene Deal, that moment marked a pivotal shift. It represented the instant when Diddy and associates recognized the necessity for legal safeguards. That period allegedly initiated transfers of holdings to Janice. Next, the extended roster of performers voicing grievances about Bad Boy. Mays spoke openly years earlier regarding exploitation. The Locks battled contractually for extended periods. Mark Curry repeatedly highlighted inequitable arrangements, with each describing identical patterns, a framework engineered to ensnare talent and maximize returns while minimizing rewards. Who oversaw those agreements? Multiple accounts point to Janice. She purportedly maintained publishing ownership. She allegedly directed financial architecture. Thus, renegotiation attempts confronted not merely Diddy, but his mother. Connections also extend to the Freakoffs. Various accounts detail these occasions in alarming ways. Group encounters, pressure, substances, concealed recording devices, and certain individuals assert Janice possessed awareness of events, even attending select occasions. If accurate, this positions her beyond passive witness status. She allegedly shared responsibility. Further, the bond between Diddy and his sons emerges. Justin and Christian appeared publicly supporting their father in Free Diddy attire during proceedings. They defend him openly, yet online questions persist. What genuine knowledge do they hold? Did similar surroundings influence their upbringing? Does repetition continue? Rodney Lil Rod Jones referenced in legal documents that Diddy's sons were present during alleged occurrences. That prompts grave concerns regarding their childhood environment, suggesting dysfunction may carry forward. The Cassie resolution adds another dimension. Following her public filing, Diddy settled within a single day. That's remarkably swift. Legal specialists note typical resolutions span weeks or months. Speculation suggests Diddy sought to prevent disclosure. Trial avoidance meant no depositions, documents, or witness statements. Perhaps that shielded Janice's involvement. Connections surface involving Steve Harvey's daughter Lori Harvey, associated publicly with both Diddy and son Justin. Online viewers found that interplay troubling, questioning limits, influence, and authority within Diddy's network. Was mutual consent present, or did coercion factor in? Resolution may remain unknown, yet it deepens the complexity. Finally, consider 50 Cent's persistent pursuit. For years he's targeted Diddy. Some view it personally motivated. Others see opportunism. Yet consistency marks his approach. Public challenges, humor, subtle indications, and now this documentary lays everything bare. He withholds nothing, emphasizing possession of proof. Stepping back to view the full mosaic, the account transcends Diddy alone. It examines an alleged enterprise, a family operation constructed on exploitation, dominance, and concealment. At its core resides Janice Combs. This extends beyond a single household or imprint. It addresses authority, responsibility, and the price of celebrity. For generations, the recording business has rested upon exploitation. Talent enters contracts lacking understanding. Companies claim ownership of creations. Leadership accumulates fortunes while originators struggle. Bad Boy Entertainment exemplifies this loudly. Should allegations concerning Janice hold truth, exploitation penetrated even deeper than imagined. The wider dialogue concerns heritage. Diddy constructed a vast domain. Billionaire status. Cultural symbol. Yet at whose expense? How many talents suffered? How many endured harm? Who truly directed matters? This narrative probes parental impact. Discussions frequently center on childhood formation. But what occurs when a guardian doesn't merely shape, but allegedly constructs a child? What follows when home-taught principles become the foundation for an empire? That question renders this account deeply unsettling, implying Diddy's conduct wasn't accidental. It was allegedly instructed, strengthened, and made routine from tender years. Accountability questions arise. Diddy faces prosecution. Incarceration awaits trial, but what of surrounding figures? Enablers. Janice. If claims prove valid, she's central rather than secondary. Yet no charges confront her. No inquiries proceed. She issues defenses for her son. This prompts larger inquiry. Who bears consequences? Merely the visible figure, or the enabling systems and frameworks? The online community drives this significantly. Digital investigators excavate, compare, scrutinize. They reveal links overlooked by traditional outlets. They expose patterns concealed openly. They sustain momentum. Absent online efforts, numerous accounts might remain suppressed. Yet risks exist. Online spaces propagate falsehoods. They escalate conjecture. They convert accusations to accepted truth prematurely. Caution becomes essential. Evidence must be demanded. Distinctions between verified and alleged remain crucial. The saga continues evolving. 50 Cent confirms Season 2 production. Diddy's sons prepare their counter-documentary. Proceedings approach. Additional accounts emerge. The central question: what unfolds when full disclosure arrives? Genuine responsibility, or continued protection of influence as historically occurs? Where does this position us? Should claims hold, decades of deliberate orchestration, exploitation, and dominance confront exposure. An empire purportedly constructed on concealment, secured through legal tactics, and guarded by a figure operating discreetly while her son occupied center stage. The most astonishing aspect: most remained unaware. Janice Combs appeared as devoted parent, elegant presence, supportive figure beside her son. Yet the documentary suggests she allegedly served as strategist, designer, initiator, and sustainer. Online voices label this the saga's greatest disclosure because it reframes the entire narrative. It positions Diddy not as an independent mogul who erred through excess power. Instead, he allegedly emerged shaped, directed, and guided by someone more strategic, his mother. Clarity remains vital. Court proof is absent. These represent claims, statements, and theories. Yet patterns persist, and Diddy's legal silence grows noticeable. Should Season 2 release with promised material from 50 Cent, this narrative will ignite. A cultural examination looms, re-evaluating bad boy entertainment, probing hidden operations of power and control. The focus expands beyond Diddy. It encompasses Janice. It demands responsibility. It questions whether enablers face repercussions. Certain observers view 50 Cent's efforts as attention-seeking, exploiting Diddy's decline. Others credit him with performing what the industry avoided, demanding accountability from the influential. Regardless, he persists firmly. He intensifies efforts, signaling further revelations ahead. Diddy remains detained pending trial. His sons prepare public advocacy, while Janice Combs stays reserved, offering statements yet evading prominence. Coming months prove decisive. Proceedings will surface additional proof, more testimonies, and Season 2 promises footage-altering perspectives. Are we prepared for truth, or will influence continue shielded despite clear evidence? Remain attentive, the narrative intensifies further. Additional information emerges. More voices surface. 50 Cent confirmed Season 2 actively progresses. He refuses restraint. He avoids caution, pledging forthcoming content exceeds existing revelations in impact. Now I seek your perspective. Do you believe Janice Combs truly masterminded bad boy entertainment, or does this represent excessive speculation? Share opinions in comments. I value your views. Do you consider 50 Cent motivated properly, or merely profiting from Diddy's troubles? Tell me, what predictions do you hold for developments? Will Diddy's attorneys finally pursue legal action, or maintain silence hoping the storm passes? Currently, their quietness communicates significantly. Like this video if it opened your eyes. Subscribe to catch every development, as we track each turn, disclosure, and revelation throughout. Enable notifications for immediate alerts when Season 2 arrives. This ranks among hip-hop's most extraordinary tales. The conclusion remains distant. We're only beginning. Thank you for joining this thorough exploration. The subject matter carries weight. It challenges comfort. Yet significance demands attention. If allegations prove accurate, we witness cultural accountability unfolding presently. Stay secure. Maintain doubt. Require proof. Recognize that those projecting greatest strength sometimes conceal the most. Until next time, peace.